not overcoach it, don't confuse them. So that's the biggest thing. Just make sure we don't try to do too much.
Do you help them with calls, and what's the responsibility there to make sure that they're seeing what they're seeing?
Talk about the offensive line, or
right, the offensive line. I'm sure Austin has a role in that too.
Yeah, I mean, really with us, we handle all the protections up front, just so he didn't have to worry about it. With us, it's really just me and Coach Scott getting together from a running back O-line standpoint, watching all the blitzes, make sure we're on the same page. Again, keeping it as simple as possible, not making many changes, and just trying to make sure we got everything covered. So you try to, you fit all this stuff into the same stuff you've been teaching since spring ball. So you don't want to invent any new protections. Those are usually not very good when you got 2 days to work them. So we're not inventing anything new. We're just making sure we got all our bases covered and making sure we're making the correct calls. And if we have to slide the front, we're just changing up our protection and not let them get a beat on it.
Overall, offensively, do you try to do something to make them declare or show earlier what kind of coverage they're in to give your guys a better read, or is that part of the cat and mouse of it?
Yeah, a little bit of that. You want to try. You use some free stuff. You use see if they're going to change. Check with me. A lot of times when you do that now, you freeze them. You change your play. They change their coverage. So it turns into one of those things where you really got to concentrate more on what you do well, and don't get overwhelmed with what they do, and just make sure you're not running things that have too many weak points in it. You want stuff that's going to cover everything, and just be confident with it, and make sure your kids. The biggest thing is make sure your kids aren't confused, because that's when you really get in trouble out there. When you're trying to do several new things, or maybe different things, and all of a sudden, a kid sees it a little different, and all of a sudden you got free runners through the gaps and stuff like that. You know what plays are going to be maybe susceptible to some of the stuff they do, and have a couple of those that may be risk-reward plays, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, you try to just keep it as simple as possible and make sure your guys know what they're doing.
Last year they held Wilton River 100 yards passing, and West Virginia only 42 plays. Does that film help you at all, or is that a throwout since you're so different from that?
Yeah, it's a little different just because really it's personnel. You look at the personnel that, that's defensively a lot. They attack your personnel where, some places where they were real strong last year were not as strong. So not banking a whole lot on that.
How much cross training do you do, not only in your offensive line because of numbers, but now as a wide receiver with some injuries? Oh
yeah, you got to constantly, move some guys around and make sure that again, that goes back to being simple and calling base plays. We got to make sure we got guys that at the X position they can also play the Z position and move around some of the inside guys, and our tight ends can come out of the box. They don't have to be handle the ground guys. They can come out there and run some routes too. So that's making sure that you don't wear their legs out this week because they don't have as much depth as we had.
This star guy they got, is that the tip off to what you look for, what they're going to do? Their star.
He's he's one of those guys. He makes a lot of tackles. He's the guy they try to keep you to get into him to block him every time. Okay. The rest of their guys they use to eat up gaps. They're very unselfish defense. They have guys up front that'll eat up gaps so 12 can make the play. And he's the guy that's what they call the star. Right. And they do a really good job of protecting him and letting him get through there and make tackles. He's a great tackler. He's a really heady player. And you just, as you're game planning, you want to make sure you want to try to account for that guy if you can, from a hat on a hat standpoint. But they keep him back there behind all the defenders, and so you run out of bodies to get to him. So that's what we're working on now, is just trying to make sure we have some plays where we can get a hat on, and just try to make some other guys make tackles, because they kind of got coverage guys back there, then they got him, and he's the tackler. So let some of those coverage guys see if they can make tackles. You just got to formation them, you got to motion them, you got to find things that make him move around.
That's the open field tackler they got, probably. That's what they.
Yes, I think so. I think so. Just a real heady player, understands angles, understands leverage. Not an overly physically looking guy, but he plays really, really hard, takes great angles, and does a great job of just hanging on when he gets a hold of somebody.
Now you got back to rotating the guards a little bit this week and getting some snaps to, I guess, Mike and John.
Yep, they both played about 20 snaps apiece. Mike's a lot better player when he plays less snaps. His effort was really, really good. Early on in the year, he played some games where he had 65, 70 snaps, and he just gets worn down because he's a big guy. But I thought he played much better. I thought his effort was much better. Gamitter really came on this week. He actually led the O-line in production points, which is saying a lot for a guy that was a D lineman last year. He's just getting better and better every week. He and Colton on the left side over there are playing real well. They're both led. Committer was 1, Colton was 2 in production points. And, John, I'm trying to get John, some reps. I'm trying to get him in there and just get him solidified. He's probably more of a tackle body, but right now just because of my numbers, he's having to play guard and tackle, so he's backing up both spots, which is tough for a guy that just got here last year, and so I feel good about getting those guys reps and getting them in there. And Bryson Mays did a really good job at center, having 2 huge nose guards on them. They were big up front. I thought we pass protected well. Did a good job with our leverage and our hands, not getting driven back. And I was happy with the way both tackles played. I thought Kelby was really solid. I think we may have had maybe 2 hits, which I call it a hit if somebody runs into the quarterback. So I think we had 2 hits, no sacks. I was really excited about the way they played. And my challenge in my room is, hey, continue being that same. That don't mean this week you come back and don't play to that same level. We got to play to that same level. Just be consistent in my room.
So Hughes would, I guess, be the 2 at the right guard and right tackle?
Yeah, right now he's the 2 at right guard. I got Parker Moore working some right tackle, which I really don't want to play him right now, but he's physically the next guy that can play that position. So, I still want to redshirt him, but I'm using him to game plan and teaching him, because he's a guy that's going to play down the road. So I'm teaching him how to game plan and how to learn. And he's an emergency role if we need him, because he can physically do it, but he's just young and just get a little big eyed right now. But I will play him. I mean, he'll get his 4 games in. You don't like to do it early because you don't want to all of a sudden need him at the end of the year and have to burn his red shirt on a 5th game. You'd rather get later in the year if you can and say, okay, these 4 games, we're going to game plan you, you're going to play, and we're going to be ready to go.
I'd say personnel-wise, Texas and Missouri are probably the most similar, and yet you guys have played better against Texas than you did Missouri. What are some of the things that you can draw from how you performed against Texas?
Really it was just it's like I talked to him about yesterday. It's about just working every day and just coming out every day at practice and getting better and taking coaching and understanding the fundamentals of what we're trying to do, because that's what we do every day. We're in the shoots every day. We're on the boards every day. We're working fundamentals. You go out there and watch us for the first 20 minutes of practice and we'll look just like spring ball. And I focus on fundamentals of just getting better. And I talked to them yesterday, like, guys, do you understand why we're getting better? Because a lot of times they just say, yeah, we got better. Well, why? It was because you're working hard, you're being coachable. So that's what I stay on about. It's like, we can continue to improve if we keep working the way we work from that point. Well, why did you work that hard? Well, we were embarrassed, right? After the Missouri game, it was embarrassing, right? So they started pushing themselves harder in practice. I started demanding more out of them. Well, we got to continue to do that. Once they learn that practice is directly related to the game, because a lot of kids don't really understand that. Once they understand that, that's when you can start getting better in huge chunks.
Did Committer get a point for that tackle on the?
I told him I should have given him a point, but he was a defensive player. He should be a good tackler.
Looking back at the 3rd downs in the second half, just what went wrong on those plays when you broke them down in general?
In general, we call it, like Coach Brown, he does a really good job, like taking, on that third and 2, he said we should have ran, it was actually 3rd and 1, should have ran the ball instead of trying to throw the little hitch play out there. He takes full responsibility for that kind of stuff, told the kids, hey, it was a bad play call. But other than that, I feel like just when it comes down to it, it's about just being more disciplined in everything you do. And then when it comes to that point where you got to make a play, that's where that discipline pays off. That's where that discipline pays off from where you practice hard and where you've studied hard and where you've done everything you're supposed to do. It's just we got to be a more disciplined unit from offensive line, receivers, quarterbacks, running backs, and just when it comes to that pressure time, that's when you make those plays.
Is that kind of to be expected of a younger group that's got so much to focus on?
Well, you don't ever want to expect it out of them, but it doesn't surprise you when it happens. I guess that's kind of what you're saying. When it happens, sometimes it doesn't surprise you. But the good thing is we got a younger group of guys, and we can just if they'll continue to get better the way we've done this year, I think we're going to be fine. We performed against a group that was obviously, athletically, a little taller, a little bigger, faster, but from a strain standpoint and a playing hard standpoint, I think we did a really good job.
Matt, they can get their hands on passes. Texas game too. I'm just curious, bad things can happen when that ball's up in the air. You ever try to guard against that? I think you try to cut some.
Yeah, we tried to cut him. So, and when he knocked the ball down, we actually missed the cut. and we probably went too long. You can only do that so many times, you know, because then the D-line starts catching on, putting their hands down, and that's what happened to us. Is I probably let it go one time too many. I probably should have pulled up, and once you cut them a couple times, you can slow them down, but we missed on that one. So we've been mixing some of that stuff in, trying to get people down, trying to get their hands down, because this group is really long too. They don't have as long at nose guard, but they got some D tackles that are 6'6", 6'7" guys.
Curious, going back to last week, I think you ran 8 straight times before you attempted a pass. Was that the script, or was that what you saw and how you guys came about attacking them?
It was the script. It was
Okay.
what we had planned on doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks, guys.